I'm all right. How are you, sir?
Okay.
What's going on?
Can I ask you the same thing?
Why?
Because our HR manager called and said you're out here asking people for money.
Okay, I'm hard of hearing. Can you speak up?
Our HR manager in the building here called and said you're asking people for money out here.
Who is the HR? What's their name?
His name's JD.
JD? No. That's, is that what they said?
Yeah, they said there's a male on the front steps with a sign asking people for money.
Okay.
Are we asking people for money or?
I'm not answering any questions.
Okay. Let me see your ID.
Nope.
Yes, sir.
I'm engaged in constitutionally protected activity, sir.
And you're also being investigated for a potential city ordinance violation. So
I'm engaged in constitutionally protected activity. What's your name and badge number?
It's William Holtman. It's 309.
Okay, my name is
Now
Jeff.
that I've given you my name. You need to give me your
My
ID.
name is Jeff, and this is freedom of speech, freedom of religion,
I understand that.
and freedom of assembly on a traditional public forum. I am not asking for money.
Okay. That's what I'm.
The encounter begins calmly, almost routine. A man stands outside a public building when a police officer approaches, responding to a complaint from an HR manager who claims the man is asking people for money. The officer's tone is neutral at first, but quickly shifts toward authority as questions begin. The man, however, doesn't engage the way most would. Instead of explaining himself, he asserts a clear position. He is not answering questions. When asked for identification, he refuses again, stating he is engaged in constitutionally protected activity. Right away, the foundation of the interaction changes. This is no longer about a complaint. It becomes a test of rights. The officer claims an investigation is underway, but the citizen challenges the legitimacy of that investigation from the very start.
Well, all you have is hearsay. I say I'm not. HR manager says I am.
So that's called an investigation.
Okay, we'll go investigate.
Right now I'm talking to you. I am investigating.
Let's make it clear. I'm engaged in constitutionally protected activities.
See
Wait,
your
just
ID?
let me finish what I'm saying. I'm engaged in a constitutionally protected activity safeguarded by the First Amendment. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of assembly on public property. Do you understand that?
I understand what the first.
You're
Amendment
not getting
says.
my ID.
Okay. Give me your ID.
You're not getting my ID.
I'm not asking.
It doesn't matter if you're asking or not. I'm engaged in
You're fixing to
constitution.
find yourself
You
in jail
don't
for
get
disobeying a lawful order.
you don't get ID for a constitutionally protected activity, sir.
Okay. Hey, Corey, do you have JD step out?
And I'll let you know I'm not going to resist if you arrest me, but you're making a big mistake if you are. I've already told you I'm not panhandling.
And that's what I'm trying to figure out.
I'm not panhandling.
I don't know why y'all got to do all this constitutional crap and make stuff so difficult.
Constitutional crap.
Yeah, y'all try to hang on this. What y'all try to do is do stuff like this to try to get a reaction so you can
Try to
sue
get a
us,
reaction
sue
with
the
a
city.
God bless the homeless
I know
veteran
what you're
sign.
doing, man. I've
Okay.
been doing this 17
So you know what I'm
years.
doing? Get back in your car and have a nice day.
As soon as JD comes out and tells me he didn't hear you ask for money, I will.
It doesn't matter what JD. No, it
So
doesn't.
JD says that he heard you ask for money and he's willing to write a statement. You're going to go to jail for
Okay,
panhandling.
let's go to jail. Let's do it.
I want to talk to JD first.
Let's do it.
I'm just
Hook
telling
me,
you
look,
where we're at.
hook me up for freedom of speech, freedom of religion.
As the exchange continues, the tension builds around a central conflict: hearsay versus constitutional protection. The officer relies on a report from an unseen third party, while the citizen counters with direct statements of fact. He is not panhandling. The officer insists that the complaint justifies investigation, but the citizen draws a firm line, explaining that exercising free speech on public property is not a crime. The conversation circles around identification, with the officer demanding it and the citizen refusing. The citizen repeatedly emphasizes the First Amendment, freedom of speech, religion, and assembly, clearly framing his presence as lawful. The officer, however, appears frustrated, focusing less on legal thresholds and more on compliance. This clash reveals a deeper issue: authority relying on assumption rather than clearly defined legal standards.
On notice that you're I'm exercising a constitution protected right.
And you've also been put on notice that if JD, who is an employee of this city, is willing to write a statement that says you were panhandling, I'm going to put you in jail.
Well, then JD will be his qualified immunity in jeopardy too.
What was your last report?
JD's not answering his phone.
Call 4205 for trunk treatment.
All right, let's just go go ahead and start recording.
That's fine. I've been recording since before I pulled in the parking lot. That's all I'm doing.
That's fine. I'm engaged in constitutionally protected activity safeguarded by the First Amendment. God bless freedom of speech. God bless freedom of religion. God bless freedom of assembly on public property.
I just want you to know the other side of your statement is absolutely incorrect. The other side of your
Panhandling is not a crime?
Panhandling is a crime.
All right. If I panhandle in front of you, will you arrest me?
I absolutely will.
Okay. The next person that comes by,
Violation of our city
the next
ordinance.
person that comes by, I will ask them for money.
That's fine. You're welcome
All right.
to do so. Just
I haven't
understand
done-
you will be placed under arrest.
I haven't
at
done
that
so
time.
to this point, but I might do so.
I haven't said you had. I told you what I've been told.
All right. Panhandling is a constitutionally protected activity.
No.
It is free. Yes, it is.
It's a violation of city ordinance.
It's
and
freedom
if
of
you do
speech.
it, you're going to go to jail.
Freedom of speech.
No, it's not.
All right, I'm putting you on notice. So I'm going to panhandle. It's freedom of speech.
And I'm putting you on notice that when you do, you will be arrested.
Okay. Listen.
Standing here with a sign and saying "God bless the homeless vets," you're absolutely right.
So is panhandling.
It's not a crime.
Panhandling is a freedom of speech as well.
No,
The
sir,
courts.
it's a violation.
Are you
of
in?
the city.
The situation escalates further when the officer begins threatening arrest if the complaint is confirmed. The citizen doesn't retreat. Instead, he doubles down, calmly stating he will not resist if arrested, but warns it would be a mistake. This moment shifts the tone dramatically. What started as a casual inquiry now carries the weight of potential legal consequences. The officer called for the reporting employee to come outside, attempting to validate the claim. Meanwhile, the citizen continues repeating his rights for the camera, not raising his voice, not losing control. His strategy is clear. Remain calm, remain consistent, and let the law speak for itself. The contrast becomes obvious emotion and pressure on one side, clarity and repetition on the other.
Are you in
We're not
contempt
in
of court?
court. How can I be in contempt?
Because the courts have said that panhandling is a freedom of speech issue. It's a freedom of speech.
If that was the case, then it wouldn't be on our books as,
Yes, it
as
would.
a city ordinance.
Yes, it would.
Well, then
That's why the
between you and
courts have done it. That's why the courts have had to rule on this.
Have him step down, please.
Panhandling is not a crime.
It is in the city.
Matter of fact, it's not only not a crime, it's a constitutionally protected activity safeguarded by the
Where
First
in the
Amendment.
Constitution does it say you can panhandle?
Freedom of speech.
That's not freedom of speech.
Freedom of association. It's not?
No, it's not.
According to who?
Nowhere in the First Amendment does it say you can panhandle without
It
reprisal.
says that I can talk to people, doesn't it?
It does, but the city ordinance for soliciting alms and contributions also says that you can't ask people
That's
for
a
money.
content-based restriction. That's a content-based restriction.
JD's on the way down. You have the right to face your accuser. That's in the Constitution.
Okay,
too.
that's fine.
Shows that he got a ticket for the date of birth 1993 0611 1993 0611.
People have offered me money, I haven't taken it.
So he hasn't asked you. He says panhandling's not a crime.
Panhandling is a First Amendment protected right.
No, it's not.
JD, panhandling is freedom of speech. So even if he arrested me for panhandling, it would be a violation of my rights and I would be suing you guys. All right?
That's your option to do so. Panhandling is a violation of the law. I can give you the code section if you want to do
Code, that's fine. Your code section doesn't override the United States Constitution. And the freedom of the First Amendment to the United States Constitution.
As long as he's not asking for money, he's not violating. Like standing there with the sign, he's right. I have no issue with that. Yeah, we just got it. But panhandling is a crime.
Panhandling is First Amendment protected activity.
Let me talk.
Freedom of speech. Well, I'm just going to correct you every time you say it. I'll leave at 5 o'clock since it closes at 5, but
So we just had a complaint of somebody that was out or looked like a panhandler, so that's why this all
All right.
happened. So I'm sorry.
but
And I told you I was going to investigate it, did I not?
Yes.
And I told you I was going to call JD and ask him what he heard, right?
All right.
And have I not done that?
Yeah, but you were threatening to put me in jail for not giving ID.
Well, technically you're required to have
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Now the encounter transforms into a direct constitutional debate. The officer openly dismisses the man's arguments, referring to them as constitutional crap. A statement that reveals more than frustration, it exposes a deeper misunderstanding or disregard for legal protections. The citizen responds without anger, reinforcing that he is standing in a traditional public forum exercising protected speech. The officer insists panhandling violates city ordinance, while the citizen counters that courts have recognized it as protected expression. This is no longer about a single complaint. It's about the conflict between local rules and constitutional rights. The officer leans on authority, the citizen leans on law, and as the argument unfolds, the gap between those two becomes increasingly visible.
Try that. We can go that route too.
But I'm not going to give you the reaction you're looking for.
My reaction, the reaction I'm looking for with a God bless the homeless veteran sign is just people just to leave me alone. That's all.
Listen, we got to understand, people call us and allege that a crime has committed. We come and investigate it. It's called an investigative process. It's literally what they pay us to do.
Okay. Well, panhandling is not a crime either. Even if I was panhandling, it is not a crime.
That's your opinion.
No, it's not. It's the court's opinion. It's the federal court's opinion.
Anyways, have a good day. We're done.
All right, you too.
Nobody can say, yes, I heard that. Yeah, I wanted to hear.
So even if I asked JD, if I asked you for money, would I go to jail right now?
No, you're not going to get the reaction.
Okay, JD, can I have some money? I'm panhandling.
I'm not fighting. I'm not.
Yeah, good. You shouldn't be because it's a freedom of speech thing.
No, it's not.
It's-
It's a violation of city ordinance.
You're walking away and getting in your car because you know better.
You got a smartphone. Look up north. It's called
You know better. You're getting in your car and you're leaving because you know better.
and contributions.
You don't want to go that route. You don't want to be deposed. You want to go to federal court.
When the employee finally arrives, the narrative begins to unravel. The clarification is simple: the man is not actively asking for money. That single admission weakens the entire basis of the officer's position. Still, the officer continues to defend the possibility of enforcement, insisting that if panhandling occurs, it could lead to arrest. The citizen responds with a broader legal argument, explaining that even panhandling itself has been protected under free speech rulings. The discussion becomes technical, touching on content-based restrictions and constitutional limits on local laws. The officer appears less certain now, shifting from assertive threats to defensive explanations. The dynamic changes. What once felt like authority is now hesitation.